What's up, y'all? You know what time it is? It's about to be that time.
Savage.
Okay, people, Film Red is out. You've seen it. I've seen it. Well, I hope that you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, I'm talking about all of it. All right, so be careful. If you don't care, keep going. But be warned, right? It's out in America now, so I'm talking about it. Wow. Like, I had a really amazing experience seeing this movie. And I want to shout out Crunchyroll and Toei Animation for sending Chrissy and I our 2 tickets to go and see it at the New York premiere. We were joined by a bunch of people in the community. It was so much fun. Shout out to Roger Space, Matt Owens, Emily Rudd, JD Legend, I'm D King, Parvision, Hidden Island, Toadski, That One Piece Talk, and of course my guy Artur, who told me that Shanks and Luffy would meet in this movie, and I'm sorry to put you on blast, my guy, but Shanks and Luffy still did not meet. Oh, no, they'll never meet first in a movie. It's not time in the movie.
Let's see if this ages well or not, because I wouldn't be so sure.
And there was a funny moment after the movie where Artur came up to me and he went, "Sore loser."
Another one.
And we laughed about it. It was fun. So yeah, I saw the movie about a month ago, and these are my reactions, these are my thoughts a month later. I am going to go and see the movie again, and I'm excited to see it again. Because did I like the movie? Of course I did. The movie was awesome. It was amazing. It's not without any sort of criticisms, which we'll get into, right? We're going to talk about the good, we're going to talk about the, and all of that. Is it the best One Piece movie? It's the best experience I've had seeing a One Piece movie. Just the hype, everything around it, and all of that. I mean, like, I've got like Film Red napkins now, and Film Red cups. Roger's base at the end of it, he's just like, guys, the cups are there. Just go and get the cups. It's just like, all right. Let's talk about some of like the really like awesome stuff first. Okay, first of all, the main thing here is that this is almost film Kobe, like not even film Red. Like forget, the third act is incredible. Shanks, all of that stuff, the Usopp Yasopp moment, insane. During the stream I did with Roger, and we had everybody that was, that was with us. We all did a stream together. That'll be linked below. I think it was Matt who was talking. He was like, do we think that this cheapens a future Usopp Yasopp thing? And I'm like, you know what? Not necessarily, because I think that the dynamic between Usopp and Yasopp isn't going to be like a hey dad and like hug sort of situation. It's kind of going to be similar to what it was in the movie in the first place, where they have to find like a respect. Because it's like, all right, Yasopp walked out. Usopp needs to reconcile that. Yasopp has to, kind of undead beat himself a little bit. But the most important thing is that Shanks and Luffy still have yet to meet, right? And that really just comes down to story structure. Because if they met in the movie before they met in the manga, then anybody watching the manga that like is not caught up would basically get to a certain point, and the internet or a friend that is caught up would have to say, okay, but when you get here, you have to go watch this movie if you want to see Shanks and Luffy meet. And that's why I knew it was never going to happen. But they found an interesting way to do it, where within the parameters of Uta's ability, right, we have these split dimensions and you have to attack from both sides. So it's like Shanks' crew is on this realm, Luffy and the gang are on this side. And I really think my favorite part of the movie was Kobe dishing out orders. He felt like he was a member of the crew. Loved it. Like, that was, I'd say there were 2 moments where I had man tears. Okay, that was that Kobe moment and the Usopp Yasopp moment. Like, it still hit, it still worked for me. I loved Bluno in the movie. Just the usage of Bluno was amazing in the sense that it felt like Impel Down, where any character could just show up, right? A side character suddenly becomes immensely important in a big way. Kind of just the way like Oda's writing feels sometimes, where there's that level of unexpectedness, unpredictability. Do I expect Bluno to come back into the story in a big way? No, but like if this was like its own arc, where the story kind of is in this nebulous space of right after Act 3, but before they get to Onigashima, so it's weird. Basically, I think anybody that has gotten to Whole Cake can probably watch this movie, because Luffy is still the 5th Emperor, and had a weird lisp there. The 5th Emperor. Luffy's still the 5th Emperor, right? And Kobe's still known for the Rocky Port incident, so I would actually say if you've gotten to Reverie, you can probably watch Film Red. It still doesn't make sense because half of the crew is on Wano. Like, it doesn't fit into the canon perfectly because Jinbei is there. But, you also have Big Mom in the movie, so there's some weird things, and of course there's the moment for Gear 5, which was a big moment in the theater as well. I really feel like that moment was probably, like, just shoehorned in after chapter 1043, 1044 came out, and it was just like, yeah, just get it in there, just a little tease. But it also doesn't make sense within the parameters, right? Because Luffy technically had to die to get to that point. So is it because we're in this imagination land and the power is based in imagination that we're able to see it for a moment? I don't know. Kind of a plot hole. But still fun. Mamanga stocks are at an all-time high. You know we love Vice Admiral Mamanga over here. We were talking about it at length during the stream between Jay, D-Legend, and Mr. Morge and I. The Croc Summit, right? It ended up becoming the Mamanga Summit. Jay and I got out of the theater and we were both, talking about these Mamanga stocks.
Mamanga stocks through the roof.
Mamanga stocks, baby.
Yeah.
Up there.
We cashing out.
I don't know. We're cashing out. On Funny Coast tomorrow. That's it.
We get kicked out. We get kicked
My man got hit with a Conqueror's Hockey Blast, and he did not fall. He just took a knee. That's it. Fujitora tanked it, though. Shout out to Fujitora. Kizaru just kind of exists in the movie, and also does a complete recreation of his scene with Ben Beckman, which was a little weird. Beppo, as usual, does nothing. He's just merch.
Savage.
Right? It's still funny. Still funny. The little mini Bluno was kind of doing more for me than than Beppo in the film. We have the Sunny, which is also merch, but that's fun, right? It's just further confirmation that we're going to get Sunny's Klabauterman at some point, because essentially the Sunny heard Uta's voice, right, and then was transported into her new Genesis as well. So it is saying that the Sunny's alive, but we know this because the Mary was, right? But now we have a face to the name. Barto was a lot of fun in the movie. They dropped the huge bombshell that Shanks may be Figureland Shanks or Fearland Shanks, depending on the translation. Like, that may be his actual name. He's part of the Fearland or Figureland family. That's interesting, right? Because the way the Gorosei is talking about it is also like as if he is truly a celestial dragon. And if he is, then that explains how he was able to walk into the war and say, hey, this is done. And they were like, hey, it's done. It's done. He said it. He said it. He's part of the Fearland family. What am I supposed to do? Say it's not done? It's done. Another interesting thing, Lucci's with the Gorosei, furthering my thoughts that Lucci could be a dog for the Gorosei. Hey, why don't you go take out Nefertari Cobra for us, right? Yeah, let's get that. Let's get that. All right. Even though we're doing a review for Film Red, it's still gotta throw those theories in there as well. Agenda does not sleep. It doesn't. There was a really interesting interview that was done with the director. Now, the director knows the end of One Piece. He's been involved since the beginning. And the director was at the screening that I saw, and he even talked about it and basically bragged that he knows the ending.
Taniguchi-san, you're responsible for directing the 1998 One Piece OVA and kind of have the responsibility of bringing Luffy into animation for the first time. Can you talk a little on that original project and kind of what it was like returning to this world nearly 25 years later?
私が最初にワンピースの監督をした時はまだワンピース連載が始まって単行本が2巻しか出てない頃でした。
When I first got involved in the One Piece animation project, I think there was only 2 volumes of the manga out back then.
私にとっても初監督だったので、まだ連載を始めたばかりの小田栄一郎の家に行って何回か打ち合わせをしています。
And it was my first time directing a project as well, so I remember way back then when Oda was still only 2 volumes in, I would go to his house and we'd have meetings all the way into the night.
その時彼からワンピースというのはこういうお話だ、こういう感じに進めたいんだっていう説明を受けたんですけど、その後の連載がその通りに進んでいっています。
And I remember in those meetings, Oda would tell me, hey, so this is the direction One Piece is going to take. This is the message. This is the theme that I want to really convey and communicate through this manga. And everything that he said way back then when there was only 2 volumes came true. So he's a man of his word. He had a vision way back then.
私は実はワンピースの最終回まで知ってるんですけれど、なかなかお話ができません。早く最終回迎えてくれないかなと思ってますが、皆さんの楽しみを奪うのもかわいそうなので、いつも悩んでます。
And I actually know how One Piece is going to end. I know what's going to happen, so I'm not going to spoil anything for you guys, but I can't wait to see everyone's reaction. It's a lot of responsibility right now. It's like at the tip of my tongue, but I'm going to hold it in for your guys' sake.
But he did another interview where he talked about like basically the stages of what this movie was initially going to be. And this stuff was actually kind of interesting, right? Where he said initially they were going to do a movie where Luffy went back in time and met the original user of his fruit. So essentially like Luffy meeting Joy Boy or like someone else that had eaten the Gomu no Mi, so that we get an idea of like the lineage and like how a fruit, you know, moves from person to person. But that's also very convoluted. Then they had an idea of a floating Impel Down, and there was going to be like a rescue Bon Clay arc. But, you know, maybe that was pushed aside because that, you know, we may still rescue Bon Clay in the story. We don't know what's going to happen, right? But these were ideas that were going to be this movie before they actually landed on bringing Shanks in and creating Uta and making it a musical. Speaking of the music is phenomenal, right? Music's fantastic. Speaking of the music, let's get into a couple of criticisms. One, Brook does not have a really good musical moment in this film, and I was really hoping for something like that. It's a missed opportunity. Soul King and Uta duet, Uta featuring Soul King Brook, like that would have been a lot of fun. There's a particular moment in the movie where I think Brook was completely underutilized, and that's when everybody is stuck on this sheet music that Uta has created, right? They're all trapped. Bluno air doors with Kobe and basically tells them how to free themselves. But the whole thing here is that Brook has his soul ability. At any point, he could have had his soul, like, leave his body and then just astral project and look, and then he would have been able to see, oh wait, this is sheet music. And then Brook could have sang it in his soul form and freed them that way. And that would have probably taken the movie up an entire point, just having that. Another criticism I have is that the film just starts, which normally would be a good thing. You know, we get right into the action right from the start. I mean, like, you've got Luffy fighting with Oven and all these other people and everything, and they're fighting Uta, and it's crazy. But the thing is that this movie is being marketed so heavily, as if new fans can just come and watch this movie. And I don't think that that's the case. This is a phenomenal movie for us, for the people that know the story, that understand the relationship between Luffy and Shanks. Now, there were 2 filler episodes that were done where you could get more of Uta and Luffy's backstory and everything like that, but even that has a couple of convoluted moments in it, but it's still fun, right? But you shouldn't have to watch that in order to understand things in the movie, and it kind of felt like that might be the case because they don't really explore that in the film. We don't know Uta and Luffy's relationship until Luffy jumps onto the stage and says, oh yeah, this is Shanks' daughter and I know her from when we were kids. And to me, that's kind of a problem, because I think that the movie would have benefited from like just 10 minutes beforehand introducing us to the Straw Hats and what the goal is. We're going to Uta's concert. Who is Uta? Luffy explaining, hey, Shanks, you know, I knew this girl. Maybe we don't even learn that it was Shanks' daughter yet, right? We just know that she was someone that used to come around his village. Now we have some setup. Anybody that is green to One Piece or anything like that can kind of have some semblance of this. I think the film would have actually benefited from even a recreation of Luffy getting the hat from Shanks. So the third act is earned for someone new. And it's only because of the marketing that this is really an issue for me. And also because I had people ask me like, hey, I don't know anything about One Piece, but can I go see this movie? And I was kind of like, I don't know if this is the one for you. But Strong World and Film Gold, on the other hand, I think did exactly what I'm talking about. Like in the beginning, they, you know, introduce you to the characters, they put their names on the screen, you kind of get an idea for like who they are and things like that. Film Gold and Strong World did that. Film Z is still probably my favorite film just because it just feels like a condensed arc. But at the same time, it also feels like episode of East Blue where it's so condensed and I wish there was just more of it, because it had that pathos, it had that drama, it had those stakes that could have been like an entire arc that would have been really interesting. And I would say the last thing that bothered me in the film would be just Uta's motivation and the fact that she knew that Shanks wasn't the guy that destroyed Elysia, that she was the one that did it. And she knew and still went forward with her plans. That would have been something that would have been great to explore, you know, the complex character of Uta, if we had an entire arc to kind of go through all of that. That would have been a crazy reveal and everything like that, and we could have kind of dived into the psychology of that. But it happened so fast that it actually would have been better if we just had a simpler story. Uta was wrong. She thought Shanks did this. She comes to the realization in real time that she was the one that did it. And then because of that, has this transformation within herself and decides to free everybody. Instead of having it be, no, she knew this, but then she's going to backtrack on her own beliefs that she's been working towards. It muddies things up. For me. Maybe not for you. But I know Jay and I were having a conversation about that even during the Rogers stream, where it just kind of took that character of Uta down a couple pegs for me. But either way, the movie is still phenomenal. And that third act, all of the action, everything like this, like anybody that was seeing this movie was eating during the entire thing. It's a visual feast. It's an auditory feast. It's just a lot of fun. So big shout out to you guys. Thanks for sticking with me. I want to know what your thoughts were. If you agree or disagree with any of my points here, put it in the comments. And like, comment, subscribe if you're feeling the vibe. All right, let's go. I'll see you guys soon.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.